such an asshole!
Good morning, fresh out of the shower, Cappy here, and we have a video request. This is a very interesting one that half the population would be interested in, or at least the half of the population that maintains their physical beauty and youth, and that would be the ladies, because half the population is interested in what you do with that. And it is so good I even took notes, and they're even slightly organized, because it is that good of a question. So, young lady writes, I'm an attractive college-educated woman, and I plan on going to medical school in the next year. Recently, after graduating, I got a job in the corporate world. I find corporate life boring, meaningless. I don't feel like it's paying enough to feel like spending 40 hours a week for $42,000 a year, and it feels measly after taxes. I also find that a lot of my male coworkers give me a lot of sexual vibes and even outright sexually harass me. Well, there you go. There's your meal ticket. Go ahead and sue your employer. And no, don't do that, because you'll never be hired again. I know that you make a lot of videos on how female beauty is the greatest commodity. Young women is the greatest commodity for a young woman. I feel like I would be foolish to not capitalize on this and enter the sex industry, especially considering that I'm having to deal with sexual advances at regular jobs. Would it be smart to go into the sex industry, such as stripping or escorting, not porn, in order to make way more money than I currently am? I wouldn't plan on doing this for a long time, but just 2 to 3 years for medical school and save some money for financial security. What do you think of entering the sex industry to cash out on my sexual appeal? Can you please speak on this topic and your concerns and thoughts, etc.? Yeah, I think the short version, yes, it's a brilliant idea, because what you are doing is you are taking a commodity, your youth and your beauty, which is fleeting and temporary, and essentially converting it into a commodity, medical skills, that is lifelong. So, and we all know these people who, well, we don't all know, but we know, yeah, that gal put herself through college or stripping, or she put herself through law school. And it's smart. So, I mean, in general, I'm fine with it. Some people who are a bit more maybe moral or religious might find something wrong with it. But, yeah, that's not only common sense, it's very smart. But let's go through this, because I think, especially with the internet, there's been some major changes, and this can absolutely benefit women. A lot of people, oh, yeah, you just get to do that because you want to see them. It's like, no. It's because it's true, and there has been some changes that has made using your beauty, well, you can just cash in on your beauty a lot easier and a lot safer. And so I've come up with this list here, but it's going to be a very important lesson for all the young ladies. And I'm terribly sorry, old ladies, if you didn't cash in on your beauty, it's too late, because it's gone. Okay, in the olden days, there was the traditional ways you would cash in on your looks. And the most socially, universally accepted one was marriage. You would find yourself the hottest, richest guy, and you would be beautiful, because that's what guys wanted. It's very simple. If you want to be honest and accept the truth, you'll do much better. And that is, women back then said, you know what, they want this, they want me to look like that, I'm going to look like that. Because then you would marry the hottest guy, the richest guy, the best provider. All right. Outside of that, there were other ways that you could traditionally cash in on your beauty and your looks. But they were frowned upon. And then, so you would go into prostitution, there's stripping, you could be an escort girl. You wouldn't have to actually have sex, but you just strip. And then you could also be a mistress, or you could have a sugar daddy, but you'd be a mistress. Okay. Now, the problem, they all have their own problems. Like, marriage is kind of permanent, and you only get one client. Right? So I am really trying to help you ladies out. I'm trying to help the client out. If you go with a marriage, or you just have, quote, a sugar daddy, or you're a mistress, you are stuck with that one guy. Unless that guy is Donald Trump, you're not going to get that much. So these solutions is you'd hook up to one, and that was it. Whereas today, and other alternatives I'm going to give you, you have as many clients as you possibly can. Prostitution, sure, you can have as many clients as you possibly can, but it's dangerous, not only because the guy might be, you don't know who your client is, and then there's STDs. And I know that you could go ahead and put on, use protection and stuff like that, but it's just a world you don't want to get into. So there's the drawback there. Escorting, okay, that's safe, you think, but okay, what if the guy beats you or grabs you? I mean, and then you need a pimp. Was the pimp a good guy, more of a mafioso type of guy? So the largest drawback of all of them, though, is that you had to be there. Okay, you have to be there for the marriage. You have to be there as an escort. You actually have to physically be there, and that exposes you to some risks and some danger. But it also takes up your time. You have to be there. You have to go to the place where the person is. Right? But that's how, and that's what the technology until very recently allowed for. Now you enter the internet, and this completely changes the game on all industries in the economy, including sex, prostitution, and beauty. All right, and so now you don't have to be there. It takes away the number one risk or the number one inconvenience or drawback of traditional means by which to cash your beauty for money, and that is you can be at home. I mean, you can do porn. Well, you could do porn in the olden days, but now it's the internet. You don't need a studio to do it. You can be a webcam girl. I've seen this before. There's a thing called Chatterbait, and I could not believe it. They wrote an article about a Return of Kings. I'm like, what the heck is? I didn't understand it. They basically digitized stripping. You no longer have to pay for, think about it: a strip club, a radio station, a radio station strip club. Those are buildings. They cost a lot of money. You have to hire a bouncer for a strip club. You have to hire multiple bouncers. You have to have electricity, build stuff, all this other crap. Now you got a webcam. That's it. You got the internet. Now instead of radio stations and radio towers, you got yourself a podcast, a microphone, and a laptop. So as the internet has obsoleted all this heavy bricks and mortar infrastructure and investment for traditional industries, it has also obsoleted the need, especially in stripping. You don't need to go to a strip club. You just go set up a webcam, get your own site. You don't need management. You don't need a pimp. Boom, you're selling straight to the freaking customer. So there's that there. What else? Oh, phone sex. This was back in the day too. They had this, but they still do it now. Again, you are removed from the client, and again, you don't have to. You could be a webcam girl, kind of like phone sex. You can do it over Skype. Charge a little bit more money. But I know two gals who do phone sex. They're phone sex operators. And just talking to them, what's sad is it's not even the beauty the men are wanting. They kind of just want a therapist, and they want a girl to talk to them. That's really what it is. You're basically their friend. It's really sad. But that's the way. There's a lot of sad, desperate men out there. And a lot of times maybe their wife doesn't listen to them. Maybe they don't have anyone else to go to, and they will pay big money because they can't go and say, "Oh, why'd you see a therapist?" If they're married or they got a significant other, well, where are you going? I'm going to my therapist. Why? Because you're an obnoxious, fat, fucking tyrant, you goddamn sow. So there's other ways to do it. Again, and you're not even showing anything. You're just talking. What else? Oh, geez, this is my favorite. Fucking tune into the Beckloff on YouTube. You'll learn many things. I thought, I know my porn. I'm hip with the kids. I know boobies on the internet. No, I don't. And I'm talking to these younger guys, 30s, late 20s. And they're like, oh, yeah, do you know women sell their panties on the internet? I'm like, what? You can sell. There's a market for anything on this internet. If you could come up with it, you can make money, go with it. But there's this huge market for used panties. And we're not talking you sell them for $5. They're going for $50, $60. My fucking God. So when I saw that, and then this is what kind of sent me down the path of kind of studying this stuff, and it's just an amazing world, what the internet allows you girls to do. If you can think it and pull it off, it's doable. Ways that you can exchange your beauty for men's money. The used panty, never saw that. And then, okay, seeking arrangement, that's another kind of safe one. Maybe you did that. What's it? Oh, and it doesn't even have to be porn or sex. Okay, the perfect example. Men pay for beauty, no matter what. These YouTube girls who are not liberals. That's literally what I call them. They're YouTube girls who they have a YouTube channel and they're not leftists. And they get, I think I did the math once, they get a premium of 500%, the subscribers and traffics, and therefore money that their male counterparts spewing the exact same, if not outright superior, political analysis and economic analysis do. So you have your Julie Borowskis, your Laura Southerns. My favorite was Millennial Millie. She literally just came on the scene. She's a redhead. She's got huge cans. And I will, whereas I'll give, Ann Coulter, Laura Southern, Julie Borowski. These girls are intelligent. They do come up with some witty, intelligent observations. So they do have original stuff. But this girl's just like, titties, yay, give me money, because I'm not a leftist. And conservative, or at least not leftist men, libertarian conservative men, throw fucking money and traffic at that shit. So it doesn't even matter. I don't know what your politics are, but if you can fake being a conservative and just mail it in and dress, with some clean. I mean, look at fucking Fox News. You think those gals, like, over where are they? I think they're based in D.C. You think all women look like that and they just went on the street and grabbed those gals and they like all have their legs and are all done up because of shits and giggles? No, because they're cashing in the fucking money. So anyway, I don't want to, because your question suggested, and you also said that you, just for the listeners, said you have also worked as an escort and done stripping, I think it was. You don't have to do stripping and actual sex industry stuff. There's other ways, and the internet is allowing it, that you can make pretty damn good money without having to resort to showing your tits. But if you're okay with that, that's fine. So, now, with the interwebs, let me just take my notes here. Yeah, so here's how it has changed things, all right? One, it's safer. You don't have to be there. Two, here's another thing. And this is why I'm saying go the internet route rather than actual prostitution because of all the risks involved. Two, some men don't want to meet you. All right, most guys probably don't, especially on the internet, because a lot of them are married, they got a girlfriend, or they got a significant other, or they're living at home and they don't want their mom to know. Like, they don't want to, like, oh yeah, I'm just disappearing for 3. It's like, hey, yeah, it's on the phone, it's convenient. Not to delve into too much of an economic observation, but work in the olden days could only be done in blocks, like an 8-hour block. We got to line up the printing presses. We got to line up the assembly line. Then we're going to run it for 8 hours. Then we're going to retool. We're going to take a break. We're going to check the machine. So it was 8. But with technology, it's allowed us to do work in smaller amounts of time of increments. And this thing right here is perfect. Like, I used to hate lines. I still do hate lines to a certain extent. But now with this, like in line in the olden days in the 80s, you just had to sit there and take it. Now you're connected. Now I can check email, I can get shit done, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, all right, but that's 2 or 3 minutes I wouldn't be able to do. You're out of stoplight and never driving text, boys and girls, but you're like, okay, I got this. Oh, you're stuck in Chicago traffic. Okay, and you're doing this. So you can make money in increments of time that were previously unavailable. I mean, so these guys, they're like looking at their phone. That's all they want. They want to hit off this. They want you to show them a picture of your titties, all right? They want to see what's on your website. They're bored, so you can go ahead and make, even though it's not as long increments of time, you can capitalize on this ever decreasing unit of which you can conduct and do labor and make profit off of. No commuting. This is a huge thing. Just to think about it. Look, a strip club, you got to go down to that fucking strip club. You got to get dressed up. You got to do your show. You're competing against other girls. You're at a smaller venue with only a certain amount of capacity for an audience. With the internet, I mean, you want to see here? I'll do my commute. Here, let me reenact my commute. Where's my commute? That's my commute. That's my commute. It's the same thing if you're doing whatever means by which you convert beauty to cash. It's the same commute if you're at home. You don't have to go to the club. You don't have to meet a client. You don't have to stay at the hotel. You don't have to get a cab. There's none of that shit. You just click, okay, and then you go have yourself a martini. So that's another one. The only drawback, though, that I'm thinking with the internet is that you have really got to stay on top of the the constantly changing social media technology. Like, I just got an Instagram because some kid, 32-year-old, said, hey, why don't you have an Instagram? I said, because I don't want to know. He says, but dude, you're the perfect type of guy for you. And then when they say you're the perfect type of guy, that's what they said about YouTubing and podcasting. I'm like, shit, he's right. I'm missing something. So I went and I got the Instagram because I do a lot of traveling. There's a lot of pictures. You got to stay on top of that shit, because that's where everything in the money is going to move. It's a pain in the ass. I mean, it's better than having a real job, no doubt about it. But if you want to make the big bucks and you want to capitalize on the benefits of the internet, you have to go to where the people are. Like Amazon is a perfect example. Amazon was kind of the first mover. Now everybody goes there. Microsoft was the first mover. Everybody uses that, or people who use the toy called the Apple. What I'm just trying to think in terms of like there are some key websites. That's where everybody goes to get their toy. Or Chatterbait. I mean, I don't know if there's another site like that. So you got to constantly stay on the edge. Now, if you're only going to do this for 2 to 3 years to become a doctor, maybe you can get by. But that's in general for any other ladies who are looking to do that. Stay on top of the technology. But if that's your only chore, that's better than having to worry about STDs and a pimp beating the shit out of you because you don't have his money. So that's it. All right, now, one final thing here, though, and we're going to talk about cashing in your chips, all right? Your beauty does not last forever. Nobody's beauty does. And what a lot of women get misled into, especially with the surrounding environment they brought in, is that you can do anything. You're going to be hot forever. And my favorite lie is take the age. 40, 50 is the new 20, 30. And they show pictures of all these old women who just look stunning and dazzling on the red carpet. That's not you. You have an expiry date. You have an expiration date. You will, it depends. Some women can look very pretty into their mid to late 40s. Some can even look great at 50. There was one gal like, what? Hi, sign me up. Hey, right here. But that is very much the exception. You only have a limited time frame by which to capitalize on it. Starting from puberty, where you can get boys to do your homework, to about 35, 40. Unless you're willing to date much older and keep yourself in great shape. But let's just say the vast majority of your market power will be between the ages of 15 and 35, maybe 40 if you're lucky. This means you need to have a plan B. And you need to, as they say, cash in your chips. So when you're up, you cash in your chips. Now, what does that mean? Well, in the case of our client, that means you go to medical school. Brilliant way to cash in your chips. Taking money today, capitalizing on your beauty, that's temporary commodity, investing in a long-term profit-generating investment for your lifetime. All right. But for women in general, you're going to inevitably probably want to settle down and get married. You're going to want to have a husband, and you're going to want to have kids. Or you're going to want to have a career. So this then brings about a couple key important issues that you have to deal with or consider now while you're selling your body on the internet or in person to make sure that it doesn't ruin when you go past the wall or after you cash in your chips. You no longer are beautiful. All right, so first thing, if you want to get married and find yourself a husband and kids, that's cool, no problem. I'm for that absolutely 100%. No guy, I mean, it's cool to date the stripper and fuck the stripper. Marry, you're going to lose. Some guys are like, yeah, marry the stripper, awesome. And they're a little bit more open-minded, and maybe I would be considered in that category. I'm like, what, you did? Yeah, dude, I've done a lot worse. But a lot of guys, especially the stable ones, who, I don't know, dentists, accountants, doctors, they're going to have issue, like if you were in porn. They're going to be like, oh, what? And then they're worried about STDs and stuff like that. Also, any kids you may want to have, if those kids find out that mommy was this, I mean, there's some people that can maybe pull it off if you're forthright about it. But you're going to have this blighted past. And you're going to have to keep yourself anonymous while you're doing that, so that when you go to grad school or you go to dental school or med school or you go out and you look for a husband, they can't trace you. Now, how do you do that? You're going to have to look like a completely different person when you're doing that. Now, I don't know. I am the last person to ask about doing women up. I know you can get fake eye contacts of different colors. That's one way to do it. Wigs, dye your hair. Dye it red. Do something. Wear glasses. Wear heels. Do something to make yourself look completely different as possible than what you want to look. And make it. And look, if you're a natural blonde, dye your hair something else. Because you're not going to want to, if you're, don't start, in other words, what I'm saying is don't start what you look like normally when you're doing this stuff, either on the internet or in person. because then every day you got to dress yourself up looking like a different person. So do the different looking person stuff while you're doing the porn now, so that when you are the mother of 3 and married to the mayor, you could just put on your normal clothes and nobody will know. Fake stage name, separate email. I mean, kind of basic stuff, you know, what you would do to prevent against stalkers and weirdos. Do the same thing. I mean, don't let anyone know who you are. Payment goes to an anonymous PayPal. Have somebody else set up the LLC. I mean, really, you got to remove your name so that you cannot be looked up. And I don't know this. Maybe there are some, actually, go talk to some ladies who are in porn. They probably would know a lot more about this than I would. Well, obviously they would. That's a pretty obvious statement. So, but that's just where my mind takes it. So your next step would be probably consult some ladies who happen to work in porn, and they can give you certainly some pointers. What else? So we talked about the wall. Oh, okay, so you want to keep your anonymity. Another thing, psychological damage. Look, it's one thing if you're showing your hoo-ha on the internet. Okay, but if you're actually doing prostitution, even stripping, you got to worry about what kind of psychological toll that takes on you. Some women have it. And I know, ladies. I know. We can do it. Yeah, I've heard it all before. Yeah, sure you can. And then, like, you're sobbing yourself to sleep while drinking martinis and taking Xanax or whatever the fuck it is. Yeah, you girls all fucking know what you're doing. Anyway, old Captain here's to tell you, sex, no matter what people say, that's somewhat, you're going to have different chemicals and neurochemicals flowing through your brain. You do that for a while. It does go against human genetics and pair bonding. So there's going to be probably some psychological issues. Some women can do it. Some can't. So I would definitely, again, go the internet route where you don't actually have to be with these people. And even then, I'd maybe talk to a therapist. Talk to some porn actresses. They know they've been down this path, but what little old me knows about it is, there's also a psychological toll. All right, so you don't. In other words, another thing this may even inhibit your ability to cash in your chips. You're making bank as 23-year-old, Sucky Susie or whatever. You're making great coin. You could become a millionaire. But your decade of life being Sucky Susie has an effect on you that you can't land a guy because you're and no stable, steady Eddie is going to want to settle down with you. Not because they know about your porn history, but they're just like, what's wrong with you? And then they're like, yeah, okay. Because here's the thing, like, you can get a guy pretty easy at 23, 24, 25. They're pretty dumb. But you start trying to chase guys 30, 35, especially 40. No, they can... They dated that one bipolar chick and never again. And then if they see lithium in your cabinet, never again. They see Xanax in your cabinet, never. I mean, they're a flight risk. So make sure you maintain your psychological health when you're doing this. And if at any point in time you think, I don't want to do this, is something, you can stop. You can definitely stop. So, and then finally, cashing in your chips doesn't mean you sucker a guy into marriage and then he's going to stick with you because you're going to threaten him with divorce. There's a way you can make a lot more money. You're younger, okay, and you're making your money selling your beauty. Whereas beauty is definitely the most in-demand commodity, the rarest commodity is looks combined with intelligence combined with being nice. If you got those 3 things, you will be able to get yourself a great husband. I don't want to say a rich husband. I'm going to say a great husband. Because not all the great husbands are rich, although they correlate. I mean, you'll have a stable guy. Not just to, like, get yourself a husband, but also if you... Another perfect example. I'll give you an example. I have the best of... We do this thing called Captain's Quarterly, where I back up my blog works. I take the best posts and I back it up quarterly. I can't back it up quarterly. You want to know why? Because we can't find enough reliable, good-looking women to model. It's kind of like a Playboy thing. It's not porn. It's not porn. It's just, they're dressed in 50s housewife stuff. And get a copy. You'll see. It's very nice. So the problem is finding good-looking women. Not that there aren't good-looking women willing to model. It's getting them to show the fuck up on time. It's getting them to treat this as a profession and a money-making business operation, all right? And the better-looking women are, this is the hot crazy matrix, the better looking the women are, the more society lets them get away with shit. The less standards society holds them up to. So that when you're a 25-year-old babe, you're pretty much an insufferable pain in the ass that can't be relied on anything. Showing up on time, doing your job right, doing your own home. I mean, it's a pain in the ass to deal with people. But if you can be the smart, reliable, intelligent, and nice and hot woman, dude, corporate America, you could get into modeling. You could go become a Fox News babe because, we all like to pick on the Fox News babes. They show the fuck up on time. They're professionals. They got their act together. Shit, one's a judge. Good-looking judge. There's a 50-year-old woman that the old captain, I will selflessly take one for the team and nail a hot 50-year-old woman. Anyway, she's a Latina judge. See, now you guys got me thinking, what is her name? But look at where it got them, all right? They're making way more than the average stripper because they have the looks and the professionalism. So that, I think, really going long-term, you want to talk about developing a long-term commodity. Looks is looks. Any young dipshit horny guy will pay for it, or old guy too. As you get older, though, and the looks go away, but if you can keep a little bit of your looks, but then be professional, nice, show up on time, oh, man. I mean, they're going to hire you. I mean, you'll make it real good in corporate America. The world's your oyster at that time. I mean, you get like a degree like STEM, you get a programming or engineering background, ooh. I mean, shit, look at fucking Marissa Mayer. She's kind of okay looking, and she's president or CEO of Yahoo. I mean, the company's doing shit. So you don't even need to be that good or that intelligent. You just have to be somewhat good looking and kind of dip your toe in STEM. But seriously, more for the husband and happiness in life. Look, if you want good, nice people, you want a good, nice family, you don't want to be yelling in divorce, but think, God, I can't do anything. I mean, I love my husband to death. I love my children to death. This is the greatest thing ever. Not only be hot, but more importantly, be that hot chick who's nice and has her shit together. And that right there, that would last you until death. They'll take care of you because then your husband will be like, wow, you're amazing. Let's go. And it's more fun that way too. Way more fun. So anyway, hope that helped out. Hope that gave you girls a couple ideas. Hope that kind of gives you the green light, but to do it smartly, do it intelligently. That's the only drawback. The only thing I'd be like, yeah, I would not be doing escorting. I wouldn't be doing escorting. I wouldn't be doing the prostitution. Stripping, I mean, if you can get, that seeking arrangement, that sounds good. Anything online, but and a mistress, then you gotta worry about being a home wrecker. But if you're an amoral fuck, well, you can do it. But yeah, just you want to avoid STDs and keep your anonymity. That's really the key thing. So anyway, best of luck to you. Toodles.